Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
Thank you, God, for this day. We have lived everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is old. Yeah. Woke up.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. Doing what we do 3 to 4 nights a week. King Chaka ENT. From the
She
back
starts
seat.
shooting.
Ow!
That dude was like, ow.
What was that?
Outside the car,
That nigga
deputies'
got
body
popped.
cameras capturing the bullets flying through the air.
We got shots fired
couldn't
up
have been
here.
a straight
We need
shot. It had
backup
to be-
immediately. Start
Are you-
EMS. Start EMS.
What
We got
the
a
fuck?
civilian. We got a civilian hit.
The deputy.
Looks like we got us another hit.
It's not just talent.
That's what y'all ought to do.
You gotta know what the fuck you doing.
Shawty come and jump in my ride.
That's what y'all ought to do.
When the sun is starting to shine. You feel like calling you? I think I wanna give you some time. You better follow through. Don't play and shine, show me your grind. That's what y'all ought to do.
I will hit any chick who likes sodomy, sex on stilts. While a big top watching me, I eat fish like a culinary apology. I leave you like an open heart. I just can't quit. Feel like it's a part of me. My wrist on lit. Time to join the party. We check the list quick. Who got the bottle? See a poker face chip. I know she gonna swallow me, bite my lip. While I'm watching people watching me, that's not it. Won't you climb right on top of me? My mind's so sick. It's a function of my bodily. My mind's so sick. It's a function of my bodily. I feel it, you feel it. She say I'm feeling it inside of me. I dig it, you dig it. We digging all over your body. Come get it, I'm with it. I'm gon' get it on the bottom. Come get it, I'm with it. I'm gon' get it on the bottom. We
Shawty come and jump in my ride. That's what you ought to do. When the sun is starting to shine. You feel like calling you? I think I wanna give you some time. You better follow through. Stop playing sign, show me your grind. That's what you ought to do.
I done heard, I done thought, now I wonder and wanna see. Said you really are the king of the jungle, but can it be? Now you really gotta work and be holding the head of me. Cause if you don't know how to stroke, it could cause a catastrophe. I'm a soldier, so I seek and destroy you so naturally. Put some scratches on your back and then ask what the matter be. Demonstrations while the dudes and the women be after me. Leaving weak and desperate, crying to see me on bad knees. They saying where she go? Daylight, flashlight, put me on extra glow. I tried to tell you though, platinum sunshine's about to blow.
Shawty come and jump in my ride. That's what you ought to do. The platinum sun is starting to shine. You feel like calling you? I think I wanna give you some time. You better follow through. Stop playing shine, show me your grind. That's what you ought to do. Shawty come and jump in my ride. That's what you ought to do. Platinum sun is starting to shine. You feel like calling you? I think I wanna give you some time. You better follow through. Stop playing shine, show me your grind. That's what you ought to
you really
do.
want it, so come on, we gonna follow me. We like fires like Hanukkah, marijuana by the tree, like a harmonica. Lick it with no teeth. I like when it's lost and getting salty like the sea. Gotta slide it off and make sure it's softening for me. Reach the top of the mountain and have you sounding out your sheet. It sound like it's coughing and talking, saying more please. I'm sticking and stabbing it. Jason Voorhees, roll it on over and gon' get on the floor, please. Some you born in October, long as you over 18. Going to prison for pussy, just something that I can't see. Old bitch and she ready, and she can munch a dick me. Gon' hop in my Chevy, we bout to hit the scene, man. The spot is so heavy. Hopping, I seen, man. I'm fresh and so ready. Popping like team, man. I'm fresh and so ready. Popping like team.
Shawty come and jump in my ride. That's what you ought to do. The platinum sun is starting to shine. You feel feel it calling you? I think I wanna give you some time. You better follow through. Stop playing shy and show me your grind. That's what you ought to do. Shawty, come and jump in my ride. That's what you ought to do. Now the sun is starting to shine. You feel it calling you? I think I wanna give you some time. You better follow through. Stop playing shy and show me your grind. That's what you ought to do. One, two, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. A mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's time to check the mic and best to bet. I'm about to wreck it to the leather. Jealous people hate but don't debate. Just check my measures. Electric by design. I even shine in stormy weather. Attempt to meddle and tether this mental treasure, and you find yourself embedded in the chasm in the desert. Thirsting for hydration, no libation, empty kettle. Take it to another level, add the bullet in the shovel. Got you on the bubble, double trouble. See you stumbled, and it's about to get repugnant like a kitten in the rumble. Quick to fluff and tumble, best be humble when we come through, cause I have you stiffing under. Mama wonder where you went to.
1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah.
What you gon' do? It's the KCE crew. We making you look like Fu Manchu. Proper grasshopper who with the kung fu. Cut and slice nice like Benny Hanna do. Take quick bites like the tip of a piranha tooth. Go ahead and steal my mic, watch it blow up right in front of you. We coming to give you something good like some Beetlejuice. Give you something good like some Beetlejuice. Who do you think you are? You ain't gonna get real far. Driving your shifty car, following Diddy farts. I'ma be a Twitter star. I'ma be a Twitter star. Keep dreaming about how big you are, cause we about to pick apart everything that's in your heart. Control and leave you torn to shards. Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte. Selling junk like Sanford Son. Wax on, wax off Daniel son. Selling junk like Sanford Son.
1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm tripping cause my mind's gone from always seeing tragedies. Can't close my eyes cause it's around me, I just call it reality. Can't paint no perfect picture like an artist they can't sell. Is what they try to instill in me, but my pockets seem to swell. Doing it like them ghetto boys did it back in those days. And we been jamming, pippin' bun, long live UGK. And before Eminem, we had Bill and Gangsta Nip. But we don't trip unless we on the plane taking a trip. And these suckers trying to contest us, but they find out we ain't no busters. We much more than screw, we keep it gutter. Mic check 1, 2, y'all cannot touch us. We don't be causing no problem, son. Coming at me like Daniel son. You would get defeated, wax on, wax off, out to the righteous one.
1, 2, 1, 2. That's mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. You already know. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Dude, I could blink my eyes and provide an entire fountain of sound effects pounding directly on your neck, having flashbacks of the tragic act back when the boom bap was replaced with pop rap or hip hop or whatever you call that. We need a lockbox or something to keep this weak pox from spreading. I'm heading outside of the outsiders, opening your mind wider. Silly rabbits are at it again, but they can't hide us. Sit tight, Mr. Hip Hop. We'll find your daughter. Ought to be easy. She emits a homing frequency. We picked it up back in '98, and we're actually surprised that it took us so long to triangulate her exact location. But congratulations, check it out. We about to get her right now. We already found the captors, trapped them and slapped them around. And burn the hideout to the ground.
Yeah, a 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's make it hot. A 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2.
I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'm digging your wife, she playing my mic. She really so nice, I call her my light. I say we off flight, cause we stay up all night. Bet you ain't know she to take it all tight. Tell her, bend it over, let me take a small bite. Been waiting since October, see that ass fall right. Looking around the room, see passport eyes. And adrenaline feeling like a NASCAR ride. When the people ask about this, your ass gon' lie. Cause the truth is you did what you do in your life. Can't nobody tell you what to do with your life. Girl, gon' turn it over cause I know what you like. It's hard in the color of the asphalt, right? Just lay back and wonder what the past was like. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I ain't feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Let me tell you a little something about life. Win, lose or draw, I'm still taking your life. I mean, if you ever wanna fucking come in my sight, you scream like you never screamed in your life. Flip it on over, gon' do it like this. Not riding with a soldier, then you ride against it. Looking from the other side, make your stomach get sick. Every person scheming, thinking he the one to get rich. Ever sit and really think what you would do with one wish? And if you knew afterward, you'd be sleeping with fish. Style will be done, here we come. Bearing gifts, these images make you wanna grab your crucifix. It's getting dark outside, no sleeping past 6. Not living in fear, cause that's really not it. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside. I'm feeling my life, I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Sliding on in, this is it, instant win. If hip hop broke, pour some fix it then. Take real life shit, go ahead and mix it in. Not just streets unless that's where you sleeping in. They hungry out there, that's why we eating in. Honestly, don't even let the church thinking in. Blasphemous if you think I'm speaking sin. Survival is a must for all the creatures in. If you feeling life's tough, then you probably need a fin. Have a sucker, popsicle or something, take it in. Sharp teeth, eat meat, origin involvement. Why the UFC give you more than a grin? Why you take a seat when the foraging begin? Why you gotta creep just horn in the wind? I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. You sending black, and when the bottom of the ninth in the smack, you police the cat's waxing them back. Waxing them back.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that mess up. Thank you, God, for this day we have lived. Everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Amen.
What's up, Pat? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I really can't.
Yeah.
I really can't. It's always a struggle. Every day is a struggle. It's like we overcome, right? You know?
Oh, yeah.
We overcome because, you know, one thing I like to think about is like the success of your ancestors, right? They all had to be successful for you to be here. you know,
Yeah.
extraordinarily successful too, not just a little bit. And then, you know, I was a part of like a pyramid scheme thing at one time. And you know how they have those speeches and shit. But one of those things the guy said that still sticks to me to this day is he said that you're a winner. Just look at your birth certificate. So it's like that's so basic, but profound as hell, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's built on the success of your ancestors previous.
Hmm.
Going all the way back.
All the way back. And you got to think it's got to be even more successful if you're a part of the indigenous community because they've been around for millions of years. Or at least a couple 100,000 for sure.
That's mad successful. That's mad successful. So that part of it, because we were talking about last night with Deuce, was talking about how, like, you know, some people's attitudes is like they won, you know, they won the war, and that's the reason why the world is the way it is, and you just deal with it because, you know, they won.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the attitude that a lot of people have, you know. But then, you know, you want to look at it with a perspective and think about it, because the part about being successful, what we were just talking about before, and our ancestors had to just make adjustments to survive, you know. So what is the ultimate success? It's survival, right? Getting to pass your genes down.
For them, yeah, and for us is I mean, because for us it continues, but you know, really, it's us. Because I mean, really, we are them. So yeah, that is continued success.
So that gives me hope when I think about that, you know, because the other side of it, of them saying, you know, the attitude of they won, and but then I also said, you know, maybe the war's not over, you know, the war continues.
The war
Ongoing.
continues. The war does continue because
you can't say they won because the war rages on. Right?
There's you. Well, yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, shit, we're going through a war right now.
It's crazy. Let me ask you this. I was thinking about it because it's one of the lines from that song we was just playing, but it's like, what would you do with one wish, you know, if you knew you were going to die, like pretty much immediately after?
Guidance and protection for my family while I'm gone, you know. Guidance and protection.
It's just like a thought experiment, you know. The answer doesn't really matter. It's just that, you know, the idea of us, everything that we do, though, in this type of society that we live in, is all about like self-gratification or some kind of like, you know, personal achievement, you know. So the question of asking them what would they do with one wish, you know, if you just leave it there, then people would go on down the list. You know, they would think about it heavily. But then if you ask them, what would they do? What would you do with one wish? And knowing that you're dying soon after, it like really changes your answers.
It gets serious for real. You don't want to waste away with some bull crap.
Yeah. So it changes your answers. So, but then the point of the thought experiment is like, okay, so then what is really important to you? You know? That's where the heart of the question.
For me, it's my legacy. What I've, you know, the things that I've done, things I'm teaching my son for him to take in, and Because it's kind of like the same thing you're saying. Like, I mean, that when I become an ancestor, is that I've left behind enough for the next generation to move on to another.
To be successful.
Yeah.
And keep it moving. Keep the lineage going. You know, for out of respect of our ancestors, all of the struggles, because we think about the struggles that we go through in our life and all the struggles that we had to go through to get to the point where we are, you know, the whole thing related to children, all of that, whatever, you know. And then, you know, so that's trials and tribulations, but that's just you. So, but then you think about your ancestors and all of them, you know, they went through it. I mean, you know, you going through it. So, you know, they went through it no matter what. Like there's no, no matter what time.
And our children are going to go through it.
Yes.
And, you know, and I mean, the sad part about that, and I mean, I'm assuming that for each generation, it seems to get worse and worse and worse. I mean, based on what, you know, like, because I mean, I think to some extent, you know, technology is great. Like I love technology, the, you know, different things that it brings, but I also hate it too because it brings in some things that we don't really need, or, you know, I don't necessarily appreciate. There's, I don't know, there's a lot, because I mean, I don't know, I guess, like, because I've kind of had some reflection like that this week too, is just that, you know, my main thing is like being able to protect kids. Like, if anything I can do with my superpower that I could have to change the world would be, you know, so that I could protect children from adults.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying? And they you know what I'm saying, and then they expect us to be their protection. And for some children, like, it's like
they don't have that. It's so sad. And yeah, so I had these thoughts because I was feeling kind of down. I think I got like a cold, and you know, and I was going through some struggles because at school I missed a date for, anyways, it's a long story. So I was just feeling down, but you know, I had to think of thoughts that would make me feel better or whatever. You know what I mean? Uplifting type of thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I find myself there too because, like, you know, like I was even telling my son a little while ago, it's like, you know, your words mean so much. Like, because, you know, I took it to the point of, you know, I use the Bible because he likes you know, the Bible and stuff. So he's like, you know, I was like, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So that means that when you speak something, you can create things with your speech. So you got to be, you know, make sure that when you do speak, you're speaking something that you want to happen. And, you know, just kind of teach them, you know, telling them these things that he, you know, you know, like he knows, because we've been, you know, like we had these conversations from time to time, but, you know, it's just like
reiterating and because it's so important. And then it's like, you know, and then I would say the breath, once you add the breath, that's what gives it life, you know, the ka.
Well,
what's up, Deuce?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Deuce,
What up, man?
where you been, man?
Shit, on lockdown. Can't use the phone while driving and shit. I ain't supposed to be in here right now, but I'm just, you know, I'm in a place where I don't have a lot of traffic. That shit triggered the camera, so.
I got you. Yeah, I forgot you had said that, but yeah, man, good to hear your voice.
Same here, bro. Yeah, I was in here. I came in last night. I was parked waiting to offload. And man, we were looking for you, but Chaka had got word that you was mourning the Queen's death.
Well, you know, I get a little sentimental, you know what I'm saying, when I'm so excited.
I feel that. I feel that.
I mean,
Yeah.
we all mourn in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And me being from New Orleans,
Heck
we
yeah.
we second line.
Hmm.
So I did me a little celebrating.
Y'all are morbid as hell. Like
Hell
we
yeah.
lost this. Y'all morbid as hell. Don't they have like it's a parade that's kind of like the one that they do like in Mexico? It's like the parade of death,
Hmm.
El
Day of the Dead.
Muerte. What is it called?
The
Uh,
Day of the
I, I
Dead.
yeah, I think you're talking about the Day of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
Is it kind of like Halloween or something?
Yes, it looks like Halloween, but it don't be around Halloween, and they do
You
like
know
a
what's so
parade.
weird about what's so weird about that? I was helping my son with homework yesterday. That was one of the things because he's taking world cultures, and that was one of the things that came up was I was like, oh yeah, Day of the Dead is kind of like our Halloween. He said, well, it's not really Halloween. It's like, and I was like, well, okay, it really is. That's really what Halloween is here, but it's been so commercialized and all this and that. But it's pretty much come from the same, the same idea that really probably began as the same thing. It's just that
Yeah,
they
well,
made it.
it's bastardized over here. It's the American Halloween is what's the bastardized versions of all this
That
stuff.
well,
It's
that's
more
what I'm saying.
pure. Yeah, it's more pure other places.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? We talked about Christian nationalism last night, me and Deuce, and I figured that was a heavy subject, and I wish I had your opinion on it. We played a video about it was this Christian lady who was saying, this is not Christianity. These Christian nationalists people who like she's saying they're saying that they're pretending to be Christian and you tying it to some nationalism stuff on some political stuff.
Um, of course, I don't hear exactly how she's expressing it, but I would say that like, based on what I've seen in my years, is that what they call Christianity is not. It is not Christianity because it's filled with hate. It's filled with all types of things that go against the actual principles of Christianity or being Christ-like. So it's like they use that name because it's easy and it's holds power. But when you really analyze it, a lot of times it does not withstand the actual meaning and the principles of Christianity.
And they're pretending because they know it too, and,
Yeah.
and maybe don't even have no intentions of upholding any of that.
No, I
They're
mean a lot of
masquerading.
it's because see, I mean, you think about it, it's a lot of selfishness, it's just a lot of greed. Like it's actually opposite of Christianity. When you really look, I mean, when you really analyze it, it is totally opposite of. It would be more satanic. But instead of, because they know that if they say exactly what it is, you ain't getting no play around here and nobody gonna support none of it.
Right. So then they put on the face of this other thing that people will support, but it's not really that thing.
Yes. They're using that as a guise, and like pretty much we know it's gonna be hard to have like true Christian people who hold the principles to be able to really fight against somebody who's saying that these are other Christians. But you know a lot of like real Christians get caught up in the what you say instead of what you do, and that's where the biggest problem lies, is that like we're not really doing the homework or really analyzing it to the point where it's like, nah, they're not no damn Christians. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
They
and you
call
gotta,
themselves that, but
yeah, and you gotta be willing to call these people out. It's like, okay, you say you're Christian, but you
you're
know,
not doing Christ-like things. Like even the stuff that you read in your Bible. Do you read? Do you actually read it? Like, do you ever look at it? Like,
yeah. I mean, I mean, because even like, like I want, because I mean, I think it's more, those things of being Christ-like is more natural. Like some people, like the ones that have to practice to be like it. I mean, you're not it, but it's, at least like if you're trying to be it, okay, cool. But for most part, you probably already aligned because I mean you're raised within a community or a household or whatever it is that's gonna keep you in line with those principles. And and for me, it's like we can use it based on because I look at Christianity more as the actual definition of the word, not necessarily what we say people are practicing, because this new form of Christianity is not what the original, the one that was born out of Ethiopia. Even though there's a lot of the same kind of rituals that they used to do, and the Catholicism of it or whatever, but if we look at the basic definition of you know the Christ, Christ, the Christos, what these things mean, what they stand for, that's mostly what I'm judging by. And I said the religious part of it, like most of the church has been hijacked a long time ago by Satan. So and I mean, try not to be too offensive, but honestly, I really don't care. Like, I mean, for me personally, I don't care. Like, if if you're not that, you just not that. And whether it's your church, or whatever. Like, if you're not, like I said, like most churches don't even help their own community. Like
yeah,
they're actually robbing their community. Like you're stealing from the people, and instead of gathering what all of them have given you and take a portion for yourself, because it takes work to do some of these things, but the majority of it needs to go back into the community and fix the community so these people are not starving or deprived. Like every community used to have a supermarket.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
So
Now,
it's
My
now we got
thing in the
food.
hood, my thing is, you got over in the hood, they got the most churches in the fucking hood, but the highest crime rates, the most
Yeah,
killings, and there's
and
a
and
church on every fucking corner.
and it's a food desert. It's a food desert. There ain't no grocery stores.
well, you know what? Why can't the church take some money and buy some land and grow some damn food, put up a building, and when the food is done growing, put it in the store, and you can, what I'm saying, you circulate those monies right back into the community, just like most others. I mean, because
Yeah,
Because these
if you dare for growth,
they
you know what I'm
get
saying?
because
because
they
these
they
things are
give
related.
they yeah because these churches, bro. I'm not gonna say all churches, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of these churches they have people on staff that are professional grant writers. These churches get millions of dollars, bro, for to pay for church expenses, to line the pastor's pocket, whatever programs they got going on.
But how
And
much?
then
But
on top of
dudes,
that, they get this money, and then they giving people give tithes. So it's like you can't tell
but
me y'all
dudes,
can't help community.
Mm.
listen to this though. Even if they don't have a grant writer on staff or in the church. Oh shit.
There you go. I hate
Yeah, even if you don't have one on staff or in the church, how much does it cost to get one?
Probably
probably
nothing.
not very much.
not much at
Yeah,
all. Like I mean,
because he's gonna get
you could pretty much pay.
he or she's gonna get paid based off of what you get. They're gonna get a little portion, a little kickback.
Well, yeah, I know some of them work on percentage. Like they'll take 5%, 10%. Like depending on what kind of monies you get. Like the more you look for, they might take a lower percentage, 1 or 2%,
And
or
they're not
whatever.
paying no taxes on top of all of that.
Yes.
Nah,
So
no taxes.
I mean, that's the thing that there's all these things that's really available. It really that it would never really be the excuse. I mean, it's just mostly greed, and I hate that our people, mostly our sisters, out
All
of
up in the
doing,
church.
out of trying to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I think most of our issues is where
And I think we touched on something because earlier you said about the community. You said the community has a set of principles, and they teach you that, and that's you already are learning, how to be a human or whatever. It's like religion, like you say, like being Christ-like already. Your community teaches you that already without you having to look at the Bible book. But I think that's really important right there, because then we're talking about the church and how like the church kind of leads the community, but it's like leading the community.
The church is supposed to be the community. The church is each individual. That's because they end up on church on Sundays to really to commune and to to I guess do a ceremony of praise together or whatever. But really it should be a time where everybody can gather. All right, we can say a few scriptures, we can do this and that, but what are we doing to grow our community? What are we doing to change the situation of those that can't change it for themselves? Like, what efforts are we giving to build something that for the future that we know is coming? That's what I'm like. Church really should be about.
And so the soul of the community is the church. And then if the church is corrupted, then the community is corrupted, and these kids aren't being protected, and they aren't being, there's no support, there's no
Well, and I would say it's also an accountability center where they hold each other accountable.
And that's not happening. That's not happening. The name of the show tonight is Your Hood a Community? And do you love thy neighbor? That's the sub title. So it's like, is your neighborhood a community? Like, is it or isn't it? And then it's like related to how you are with your neighbors and how your neighbors are with you, or do you communicate with them? Like the idea of a community, does your neighborhood fit that? What do y'all think?
I don't know.
I don't have a community.
Well, I think there's certain people within the community that I live in, I think, that try to do good or try to be helpful, but where I live at, you already know what it is.
Well, if I think back to like my where I was raised in my mom's neighborhood, which she's been there for 40, I'm 46, so been there for 44 years. So, I would say to some extent, because we have people around we can call on, but I think that there could be even with that, like we could still find some ways to grow. And it just seems like over the years we have, like when I was a kid, it was really like a togetherness place. Like we used to have block parties and, like people come together, do talent shows, and like we did stuff that it doesn't happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that we have pulled apart. We're not doing we're not doing better.
Yeah. Well, that's like I say, like the most community helpful community that I know that I grew up in was when I stayed back home in Baldwin, Louisiana, and then when I stayed on the north side in Houston, over there off of Cavalcade, Hirsch, over there in that little neighborhood behind Mr. A's, and you know, the older people in that community, they watched out for the kids. You know what I'm saying? You might be on the next street playing, and somebody come around that corner. Hey, your mom and them know you back over here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody watched out, and if you went to somebody's house, that was the first thing they asked. Your mom and them know you over here, and if not, they got on the phone and called and told, hey, Deuce over here at our house.
I got your chat.
Yeah, and if they went to, because the grocery store we had right there in the hood by us was Singone. I remember when that store, I was a kid, that store burnt down and they rebuilt it better. And this store is owned by Asian folks, but well, I don't know about now, but they used to do so much in that community right there, bro. They used to give to people, help people. I'm talking about give people free grocery, would bring groceries to people's houses. Like they've been in that community for years, decades, bro. And and that's where everybody went. So let's just say, one of my aunts or something, they going to sing on, they gonna call the old folks in the neighborhood or call the people, hey, y'all need something from the store. I'm running by the store. I'm making a store run. And that's just what it was. But shit, once we moved from that over to this like homestead area, nigga, wasn't no community. It was every man for them motherfucking self. Shit, get it how you live, nigga.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a few of us with like I said, within my neighborhood where I grew up. It was like it's a few of us that still come together. Like, it's very few of us. But like I think I'm probably one of the few people that I know that have friends ever since elementary school. Like that I still hang with the same way I did. When we see each other, it's just like, or even I hear from them week to week just to be like, how you doing? What is everything good with you? You know what I'm saying? So I say, there are some parts of that still exist, but like I said, I know that there's still some places where we could do better. Because I mean, as far as the community, it's still to that individualism, and like the places in which we're getting to, like, because we used to have, like I said, we used to have our community uh, grocery store, which like I mean, it's just not there. It's not there anymore. There's some other little businesses that took its place, but I think it's really important. That's one of the more important things. A part of a community is that you can provide services to each other.
Like when I was a kid, and I wasn't a kid that long ago, but I remember staying back in Louisiana, and
Wait a minute, hold on.
we
Was
had
that just wait a minute, Chaka, did you hear that?
Well, yeah, man. Like I remember as a kid, bro. Like we had the big grocery store, which
wasn't that long
Dixie.
ago?
Yeah, which wasn't that long ago.
It
And
wasn't
then,
quite as long as me, huh? All right,
I ain't judging, bro. I ain't judging. I'm gonna be your age one day too. I hope to be as wise. You know what I'm saying? But
so
but
good.
now, man, like we had the one grocery store in Baldwin, which was and I think it was in the little next town over. But here's the thing: the gas stations, in Louisiana, in a little small town, the gas stations were the grocery store, bro. Like literally, I remember and that gas station's still there. You know what I'm saying? And they had you walk in there and then you can make groceries in there. They had aisles inside. It was a big gas station, like a grocery. How like the Brookshire Brothers grocery stores look, and they had the little gas stations out front. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's how this was. It was literally a gas station that they took and they added on to it way back in the day and made it into you could go in that motherfucker and it had a meat market in the back. You know what I'm saying? It had everything. You go in there, get fresh boudin, crackling, everything you need. You could go in there and make groceries. And that was the place where a lot of people and that stayed around my grandmother now, they would go in there and make their groceries. And then when they got their check, they go down there, they cash their check there and pay the dude, pay the store people, for they got credit this week. They pay them back, and start all over, You don't have
Now,
those type, but people aren't trustworthy like that no more either. So I get why stores don't do that shit. So
yeah, there was like a corner store we had that was like that, but but when you said Win Dixie, I was like, oh nah, he don't get it, because like when I'm say community supermarket, like this is like the one that just kind of give an idea. The name of the one that is right there in my little area was named Laurel and Lee. So these are families
yeah,
that was
well that's how
lived
that
in.
sing on is. That's how that sing on, the one I was telling you about in Houston, it's still there. It's called sing on. Back in the day, the people that owned the grocery store, they had like an apartment house above the grocery store that they lived in.
Okay.
They lived there at their grocery store, and yeah, man, and not only that, bro, that place employed, like, I got cousins and shit that worked there for years. You know what I'm saying? Chaka no sing on. Am I lying, bro?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's funny
And
how
then you
it's
go
like
and
that.
sing on and get a meal out that motherfucker too, because you can grocery shop and buy you, and they got some damn good soul food. Ooh,
It's
Lord, the moxtails
you
be
could
hitting, boy.
Yeah, that I'll be looking for
Smoking
those
pork
plate
chops.
stores all the time. I don't want to live in those neighborhoods, but I have to drive through there to find, because there's no other. We was talking about soul food. The soul food is, I don't like it, so I'll be looking for those plate stores. Hey, y'all, check this out, because it's on the topic. It says HEB offers cash back, no monthly payments on new store debit card program. So HEB is offering y'all credit for your groceries now. Um, And I wrote the comments about it. I was like, right on time at the moment where you could use some more debt, you know.
Well, it says no. Wait a minute. It says offers cash back, no monthly payments on new store debit card program.
Yeah, so people gonna be going more in debt. They maxing out their credit
Nah.
cards, and they
Well, it seems like I said, no, they're offering cash back. So it's like that, based on what you're spending in the store, you can get stuff put on, like, like I guess when you come back, you're building, because it says no monthly payments on new store debit card. So like the debit card
Yeah.
program. So I mean,
Yeah, so
debit card
basically
program,
what you going
it's not credit. Yeah, that's not
yeah,
credit. It's
yeah.
money that
That's
you're earning. So
yeah.
reward system. Yeah.
It's like it's just like Target. Target has the same thing. They've been having it for years. You can apply to get a Target debit card, and what you do is when you get that debit card, you link that debit card to your bank account. All right. So basically, it's the debit card that's linked to your bank account, and you use that and Target, and every time, well, for every dollar you spend in Target, you earn like 5%. They'll give you like 2% cash back, or if you spend $100 or more, you may get 5% cash back on every dollar that you spend. So it's not that they're giving you free groceries. Now, there is one where you could go and get groceries and you can pay bi-weekly if the store accepts it, or if you have one of their cards, Klarna and Afterpay. You can buy gas on Klarna. You can buy groceries on Klarna Afterpay, and then what they do, like, say for instance, you spending 300, they may only take like $60 up front, and then you pay off the 300, in four payments, and they take the payments every 2 weeks out of your bank, debited out of your bank account.
oh man,
But
that
what
sound
but
like
but what HEB is doing
Yeah.
is basically you get that debit card through them, but you have to link it to your bank, or you put money on it and you use it within their store, and they're going to give you a certain percentage of cash back for every dollar you spend in HEB using that card.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. When y'all brought up this money thing, it sparked a thought in my mind about what I'm hearing. Like Russia is the new United States.
Mm.
The
Dun,
the the
dun,
the
dun,
oil,
dun.
yeah, the oil and gas. Like China and pretty much everybody else is going to be switching over to the ruble, uh, so they can purchase oil and gas and all that. Like the new money for the oil industry is the ruble. So, or well, and I guess partially some of it can be you can use the yuan as well, but so really China and Russia together has pretty much taken over the oil and gas industry. At least you got to use their money in order to do so, to get some.
Mm. Well, the petrodollar has been a big part of the reason why the dominance of the United States.
Hmm.
And it's related to when they came off the gold standard, the Federal Reserve, and they switched over to this
Currency.
petrodollar. Yeah, so then they're like, okay, so that's our reserve. Like that's how we can show that this money is worth something, is because it's
Yeah.
off of the
Uh,
muscle of these oil and gas, and whoever the hell
well,
buys it, we
the
don't give a
produ-
damn.
yeah, it's
Everybody got to
actually
spend dollar to buy it.
yeah, it's the production because I mean, and just wanted to specify, we move from money to currency. We move from real what we call real money to currency. So yes, it is the activity, the energy that is within, because it has to be some kind of natural resource that backs it. So that's what they somewhat use as they give it some strength because I mean, really, it's the people and the belief in it to a great extent, but also with the idea that we were going to be producing um, oil and gas. But yeah,
So, but these sanctions that they did on Russia backfired. But I think that they planned for this because it's the squeeze on the people. So, like, what their long term goals is, I don't fucking know. But it had to be in their plan because it's squeezing the people. You know.
but that's the
Um,
thing. But that's the thing. The whole like the intention was to squeeze the people to move to what their investments what pretty much to move over to what they are heavily invested in, and which I think most of them think is a great idea and want to eventually move to those same type of systems, but there is no the infrastructure is just not there. It's not like we're not ready for it, and they're like doing this thing too
and
soon,
and
and
and Putin is
that's
sitting
what's
there waiting, and he's like, "I got y'all, I
yeah, he
got y'all,
ready.
no problem." And
Yeah,
but then y'all want to trip out about this Ukraine thing? Okay, cool. Well, then I don't got y'all. So
yeah,
now
because see,
freeze.
look, I mean, there's a lot of people that I was listening to a TikTok where this woman, she was like upset about the whole idea, the thing with Russia and Ukraine, and it's like Ukraine would be safe as long as they weren't going against the agreements that was made for them to be you know their own country. So it's like you kind of like I get it. You don't want to be at the helm, but as long as like he's not going against the original terms, then you should be okay. But I
Eh,
mean, they
The
want
the
to unite.
propaganda that we are fed about Ukraine and all the these Western countries are sold propaganda out of Ukraine. Like it's wartime propaganda. Like it's totally
Well,
warped as fucked. and
yeah,
and and so but that's the only information that we have to go on about the situation. But even besides that, Who gives a fuck at the end of the day, right? Who gives a fuck? Why is that shit even on whatever, you know? And then they want to act like, okay, well, we all should care about what's happening in Ukraine, so we need to restrain ourselves a bit, like use less gas and water and shit like that. You know what I mean? So that we can do these sanctions on them and make Russia weak, so that they can leave Ukraine alone.
But I mean, but see, the thing is, when you don't have the support of those other, like, 'cause I mean, these are some, like, a lot of these countries, these real sovereign countries, like we're talking about, you know, Saudi Arabia, we're talking about India, we're talking like a bunch of Asian countries, even shoot, there's gonna be some European countries that's gonna be like, all right, you know what? Y'all can go on with this foolishness, but look, I need some oil and gas from this dude over here that y'all keep trying to beef. Now, either y'all gonna go on
and that's what's happening. It's gonna be other European countries that's breaking off too, because and it's gonna happen more. This is my prediction, because we're going into the winter. It's about to start getting cold. It's finna get real for them. It's finna get really real for them.
And when they citizens get pissed off enough, and
they're gonna start peeling off. They're gonna be like, "Hey, you know what?
Y'all gonna make us suffer?
Fuck that. We fucking with Russia. Hey, Russia, we ain't with them niggas no more. Fuck them over there. It's cold. Can y'all give us some gas, please, bro? Fuck that shit."
Yeah. Exactly.
Russia can be like that.
And don't think that this the death of the queen and the new king that's arising is not going to be trying to play a part in, you know, some of these things that we will be seeing soon. I mean, he seems to be more of an asshole than even the queen was.
Yeah, and a bit petty, you can see. But you know, hey, you can't blame them, and it is what it is. They did this to themselves. They totally did it to themselves. They totally did. And it's like, how can you feel bad for him and whatever the hell he does as a result? And it's gonna be us that suffers too. And this is a long time coming. The freaking Cold War, this whole time, you know, it's just retarded, you know, really for no reason. Like World War II was how long ago?
Shit, 70 women know. World War II, shit, that's what, 80 years?
You know?
Was it the 40s or something?
And the history of that is so retarded. It's like, you know, we was on the same side in World War II, and then it was like, okay, so then they're big and powerful and we're big and powerful. Well, then shoot, we got to choose between capitalism or communism. You know what I'm saying? Russia or the United States is going to be the global power. So we you know, we're not with that. So everything that was against, it explains the history related to Cuba, the way they react, you know, the way Cuba is today, Venezuela, you know what I'm saying? Other places that's friendlier to Russia or friendlier to communism or whatever. Well, you know, this is that post World War II Cold War stupid.
See, you're hitting it more now, because it's like common sense is winning right now. You know, that's the thing. Like, if you start, you know, if you letting your emotions and your money rule the direction that you should move in, you're stupid. Just like, you know, the Europe and these European countries as well as United States.
Exactly. So look at China. So China they're not playing it stupid. Like they haven't been for years. So they just be like, you know, they make their tactical decisions. Okay, y'all do this, we're gonna do that. Like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because really, when it boils down to it, because I mean that's where a lot of our you know, the imbalance of our nation has come from is mostly through the greed. But you know, it's not really based on the needs of the people. It's, you know, the minute few, the few thousand people that is actually in government, running government, and has some, has their taste of power, you know, they're the ones that has like because they are able to accomplish goals and they've forgotten about the people. I mean, like, look, I'm gonna tell you, like, I mean, for me, like, I can't imagine. I'm sure we're gonna have some people that's gonna be real simple. 'Cause I mean, not to say that Republicans are really like our savior, but at the same time, I think there's enough examples to say that they're more responsible with what people want and need over what the Democrats are doing right now. Because like it's really insane what's happening. Like, I mean, we went from having great relationships with the world with the bad guy, if you really want to say it, like, most people look at him as he's the bad guy, but he actually, was doing things for the people, for our country. These people, they're more so, they're still worried about themselves. Like, they're trying to get whatever money grab they can because, I guess they feel like this is their last moment to be able to do so. I don't understand it, but I think the more that's just like being a businessman. Like, you do well in business because you provide a service that the people need. You become a problem solver, and because you are a problem solver, your business does well. They used to run on that to some extent, but it's just gotten out of hand now.
I saw a chart that showed the age of the Congress over time, going back pretty like to the 30s, and you can see how the it just trended up, and it's like most of the Congress now is like over 65, over 70 years old and shit. Like, they up there, but that's how you can see, because of that chart, it shows that those are really the same people. That's the reason why the age.
Yeah, but that's why it's monumental when somebody like AOC becomes a freaking senator, because it's like, oh wow, we actually got some new blood in there. Great, we're moving the mark, but like, by how much? A millimeter? I mean, shit. We like, honestly, like, they will never do it, so that's why I'm like, but somebody needs to make some legislation that changes, because like, if going in the future, like, if we really want to see growth, we've talked about it many times, is to I know you agree with me, because like I said, it's mostly being those time limits. Like, everybody has to come in, give their service, whether
Yeah,
even if it's up to 10 years.
I get what the political, because I get the political reason for having, like, because see, the senators are 6 years, so the reason for that is that they won't be so politicized, and worried about the next election when they're making their decisions and stuff, right, and legislation and shit. They should be thinking long term, but the state representatives are every 2 years, the House. So that's like, they're the ones that's really looking at an election every time they turn around,
Yeah.
and so that's the thing. So, but then right now you see Biden, look at how they're making him look now, like, that election is coming around, so they've already started, like, polishing his image and shit, and changing the narrative of making fun of him and all of that stuff. And now the news stories are all about, like, the stuff he's done and stuff like that. Like, really cool ass pictures too of him, like, looking cool as hell.
Yeah, looks young, ready. The whole thing is like, okay, as before.
You're breaking up.
Okay, I don't know what. Can you hear me now?
It's still breaking up.
Okay, I don't know what I don't know what I did different.
Okay, you sound good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause see, my thing is that they take one small, like the end of it, because I mean they did all kind of craziness you didn't see or hear from the first year for like at all. Second year, you start seeing them a little bit here, a little bit there, and then they start actually trying to pass stuff, but they're passing things that are a failure. So like, you know, for some people, what their failures is enough. Okay, they tried. Like, no, we got to get past all this trying shit. Like, we
And
got to actually do things that change stuff for America and for the American people. Because I mean, you can go around the world and you can throw out money like you the baller, act like you Mansa Musa or some shit to the rest of the world, but you got people at home starving. Like, you got people
and
who you can't even get good fresh water.
and,
It,
and,
it
and they're not gonna be talking about none of that. You already know the direction that they already pushing. The whole conversation is gonna be about abortion. It's gonna be about the MAGA or whatever, far right, ultra right, Trumpism or whatever. And they're not
we
gonna
got
talk about none of that you just said.
no, they're gonna look, they're gonna spend most, just like they always do. They're gonna spend most of their money on trying to tell you how bad the boogeyman is and what he gonna do to hurt you, instead of trying to tell everybody what they've done and what they'll continue to do that is actually beneficial, that they can provide. So like, to me, that's just a total cop out, because I
It
mean
so sucks. Like, but it's really like that's the part about the Democrats that really bothers me is like, what are they selling? They're like, oh well,
lies.
we're not as good, we're not as bad as those people over there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm
I,
saying? It's like, but those guys are pretty bad over there. Like, you can win us. We will, like, you already see that we will, freaking vote for you even with your incompetence. So like, just imagine if you actually do shit for us.
Man, that the thing that gets me, bro, is how many celebrities, well-known celebrities,
They
you
get
know,
paid.
Houston, like that's like I've been, my co-driver. I got a new co-driver, and he was telling me about the Ghetto Boys Reloaded. So I wa-
I
I
was,
watched I watched their podcast and I watched the episode where Slim Thug was on there and they were talking about it. Slim Thug was like, "Oh man, we had to get Trump racist ass out of there and Scarface and what it did." And I'm just like, y'all call this man racist, but look at what the fuck the fuck Biden is doing. And I like the fact that
follow the money.
Scarface, yeah, Scarface did try to clear it up by saying, well, Obama was really racist towards black people too because he didn't do shit for us.
Yeah. Well, no. Look,
But
Slim Thug. See, a lot of them, like Slim Thug, Chameleonaire. We don't really hear much from Chameleonaire, but if you really think, a lot of these Houston dudes, they are on the Democratic thing because, like, see, they're beneficial, like they're benefiting from it, and I think they're a little out of touch with the realities of the people and what the people really need, because they're like, shit. We talking about multi-millionaire.
Yeah, I was
Um,
just gonna say that it's in a whole nother bracket, and the thing about that is how much you think that remember Jay-Z and Beyonce did Hillary Clinton's thing, right?
yeah, yeah, they tried to. Yeah, they.
How
I mean,
how
but
much do you think they got paid for that? You think
oh
they was
man,
doing that out the kindness of their heart?
no. I mean, and see, but did the same thing with Obama. You know what I'm saying? Like, they I see this like as a, it's a friendship thing. Like, they're all in the same kind of boat, and it's like, okay, it's just like when
Well, they
like
think the
social media.
same. It's
Yeah,
about the money. They like, you trying to get this money? Yeah, I'm trying to get this money. Hey, I'm getting money
and
over here doing this thing over here.
well,
Well, that's
well,
cool. Look, we
well,
could
when
get some money together.
yeah, well, see, when the politicians are telling them, hey, you want to make some money, look, invest in this thing. So they know once they have them invested in that thing that they're invested in,
Mm.
they're all gonna push toward the same thing.
Yes. That's it right there. Dun dun dun. So they got common interests.
Yes.
That's what it is. That's a simple way of saying it.
That's I mean, it's really simple. I mean, you know, like, and it's just it's crazy that, I mean, these people, bro, like, you know, because I mean, a lot of them really, like, other than the fact that they know that, you know, like, it's cool being the president, because, you know, I've been listening to the People's podcast. What is it, the People's Party with Talib Kweli, and, you know, like, I feel like we have a lot in common, but there's a lot of things too that, you know, when you get to some of these levels of money, because he's not like as rich as, you know, Jay-Z, Kanye, and, you know, a lot of that, but he's still like, he wants to be in their likings. So regardless of, you know, what common sense really says, and, you know, like he's probably has more people in his family who's broke than those who have money. So it's like, okay, how can you, you know, like, wouldn't you rather see everybody in your family progress than just you, so that everybody don't need to come looking at you for something? Like, I mean, you know, like, you know, hopefully I don't look selfish. I mean, I'm not selfish, but it's just like, I would rather to see my, you know, the dreams come true of other people in my family, my friends, and things like that, so that while I'm balling, my people balling, and they ain't looking at me or resenting me because, you know, they gotta come. You know, if something really happened, they gotta come to me for money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got smart people around you, like, you should be sharing the information so that everybody around you can grow, and not just, you know, be like, well, shit, you know, I gotta take care of such and such family and I'm doing, you know, like, that's some weak shit. I mean, yeah, you know, like, if they can't provide for themselves, okay, that's one thing. But if you in a position where you can control some resources, you should be trying to make sure that you know, like, the people in your, you know, you grew up with, like, your the real people around you are good. The people that you coming around that's famous, they already good, and they probably working on trying to take care of shit in their family too. But I don't know, bro. I'm gonna let it slide. You know, but it's definitely something that I feel is out of place, and, you know, they need to do something different because our country is on a decline. It's not on an incline. It's not like everybody's doing well.
Y'all, check this video out right here. Let me play this.
Announced midnight cash was illegal, the big notes. And 70% of the economy crashed. This digitalization is now going all over the world, and there's a war on cash. They call it war on cash because cash is merely a medium of exchange. It has no value in itself. It's just a promise. You read the dollar note, it says, I promise to pay the bearer. When it's digital, even a credit card, you know, you're giving rents to the global financial system. But when it's cryptocurrency in the hands of algorithms, in the hands of big tech, they will do what is happening in China. Create social credit system to decide a new caste system. And you might have also followed that while all this has been happening, the founder of the World Economic Forum did a book called The Great Reset on how to deal with the COVID crisis. And everything we're seeing unfold is part of that Great Reset. But an element of that Great Reset is you will own nothing. If ever there was a time for humanity to wake up, Now is the time. You know, my country was the first where they made cash illegal. 2016, digitalization was forced on the country. 8 o'clock in the evening announced midnight, cash was illegal, the big notes. And 70% of the economy crashed.
What y'all think?
I say that we're pretty much like everything. Like they start with the smaller countries when it comes to making the change. A lot of these little changes they happen in the smaller countries because they're already like like if you look at the comparison to what their money is to, you know, like if it takes 100 of their money to make one of yours, like they're gonna already be inspired to do something different quicker. And if there's a digital currency that they have now that's available that is more of a on balance, where you can, wherever you are in the world, it's valued the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be much easier for them to do, but it's all it's gonna do is spread more. Because I mean, like United States, like they've been trying to fight to keep their money as the premier one. So that's why you haven't seen you're gonna see it crumble and fall slowly or slower because of that. They're gonna do all kind of, you know, tricks to try to make it look like they're stable when like they were.
It's not upside down. And you was talking
Yeah.
about earlier how with Russia and them controlling the energy resources, and we were talking about the petrodollar based on freaking oil being traded in dollars, and she's talking about them saying no cash. That's
It's legal.
it.
It's illegal. Yeah, like cash is illegal in her country.
I couldn't imagine that shit. I really couldn't. That shit would suck. But you know how they taxing the they on that shit ahead of time, right? Because look, what are dudes gonna do? Like I think about the dudes that sell weed or whatever, right? They're gonna use Cash App or Zelle or whatever. So, but then we were talking about in the other show how the IRS is already talking about taxing more than $100 or some shit.
No. Well, I'm not really sure how they, you know, what they're trying to, like, all they're trying to tax, but like, you know, $600 is what's gonna send a signal to the, because they, like, the banks are already set up to start to send messages.
So it'll be like you can't do no side jobs, nothing on the side. You can only make money through your job because they can track where your money come from.
Well, yeah, you can make money wherever you want. It's just that they want you to pay for it, for using their money, and they're prepping you up for that because the digital money, regardless, once it hits your account, because it's gonna, like, digital money just gonna change to just like what you do with it. You might not be able to go get physical cash, but you already dealing with digital currency now. The only thing is that the technology that the banks will use is gonna be on a blockchain level, and like the U.S. already has, like the U.S. look up the USD Tether. It already exists.
I went out to eat with my sister, and her credit card, she was supposed to pay, and then I paid with my credit card, but then she Cash Apped me like $400 or something like that, and the Cash App took like a huge ass chunk out of that shit. Like,
well, that's because you did it right away. If you wait 2 or 3 days, I think it'll do it for free, but.
And I noticed that they want you. Cash App wants you to leave the money there too. They probably be flipping their money too, while it's sitting there.
I mean, but see, that's I mean, just like what every bank has done over time. You know, the reason why, like, they get your money on Wednesday, they don't let you get it until Friday. you know, like your
How,
direct deposit. In order for it to be there on Friday, it's got to be in on Wednesday. So they utilize trade with your money between those
yeah.
days.
Yeah, it's like, hold on. I'm gonna give you your money. Let me flip it right quick. I gotta flip it a couple times. All right. There
Yeah,
you go. Here you go.
yeah.
That's like, how would that work in the hood, bro? Like people would be like, so it's crazy how gangster these corporations is, and they've trained us over time, you know, to
Yeah.
accept this shit.
I don't use the word train, programs. They have programmed us to operate, like to make it where like it's just it's normal. And you know, I mean, I guess you know, based on what, yeah, it is normal, but it's not like necessarily
Cause what if
what
your
I would say
job
is
did
fair.
that? What if your job did that? It's like Friday is payday, and they're like, okay, Friday is payday, but we're gonna pay you on Monday after that Friday, cause
Well, I'm gonna
we
tell
gotta
you,
hold it.
businesses, you know, especially if you have payroll, like they actually can make a part of that interest because of the way it's set up. You know, as long as you're okay with, you know, penalizing your employees, the bank will work with you and give you a portion of you know what they're making because of the what's being held within your account at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like they set it up so that like, okay, as long as you don't bring your account under $2,000, or you know, just based on the size of the company, like because for some people, like as long as your account doesn't go below 10,000, like you receiving some dividends because you know you are doing that.
So
Like
gangster.
that's just the way. I mean, yeah, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, man, that shit crazy. I wanted to talk about because we mentioned Ukraine earlier and the propaganda that's coming out of there. How basically none of the media in the States or UK abroad is getting any kind of good freaking reporting out of there, and it's skewed as fuck. I want to play a little bit of Jimmy Dore because he shows a map, and I love maps, and so just because of that, I really like this.
I want to show you. This is a map. So there's big Russia, Mother Russia, and here's Belarus, Poland, Lithuania. This is Ukraine, right? And so over here is the Donbass. Is this Crimea? I don't even know. But this is the Ukraine, just to get right. And so there's Spain, Spain, France, UK. Just so you know where it is, Finland. So just so you know, I mean, because all of a sudden they always show me the close up, and I'm like, well, where is that exactly on the globe? That's where it is, okay. And then down here, there's Italy, right? Oh yeah. And then, and so right here, this is the Black Sea, and then that's the Azov Sea, isn't it? Isn't that what that's called? I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure that's the Black. So anyway, so there you go. So there's Russia, there's Ukraine, and they're fighting over here. So here's where they're fighting. There's how do you say Kharkiv? Is that it? Kharkiv, right? So they launched a major. Hang on, I got to get rid of this.
Wait, let me premise this because you know I don't know if y'all saw in the news, but they were covering saying that Ukraine made a great victory. Did y'all hear that? Ukraine made a great victory. The Russians they retreated, and Ukraine gained all this territory and da 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 da. Like all the news stories are saying it. Literally all of them. Have y'all heard that? Well, that's what
I didn't. I don't. I hear you saying it now, but for whatever reason, I don't believe it.
Every news story was saying that. Okay, let me play.
So they launched a major offensive, the Ukrainians, right, to get Russia, and it's actually working. So Ukraine forces break through Russia's front lines in the east and retake key towns. Okay, but look at. So I just want to show you. Here's a mashup of the headlines I put together. Britain says Russia has likely ordered troops withdrawn from Kharkiv. Ukraine inflicts major operational defeat on Russia as its forces retreat. Russia defenses crumble as Ukraine retakes key territory. Ukraine makes more gains, pushes back border places. In Kharkiv, towns liberated by Ukraine rejoice in a Russian retreat. But then there's this story. Ukraine's second largest city appears to be without power. So we're going to get to that.
They were rejoicing too hard?
They were rejoicing too hard. So here, this is
now Putin turned off the lights.
Like a GIF, and it's going to show you how on September 7th is when they started this offensive. And so here's how it started on September 7th and 8th. They started here, and then it kept going. And then on the September 9th, you see how it spread. September 10th, it spread. And then September 11th, which was yesterday, this is the Ukraine forces taking back over the areas that Russia had captured. And then that was it. So, and can you imagine how much better Ukraine would be doing, Kurt, if 70% of the weapons we sent hadn't vanished in this thin air? Look how great they did with only 30% of the stuff we sent them. Isn't that
Imagine.
great? So here's, I mean, and they were saying this was a big waste of lives and money, huh, Jackson? I mean, look at that. Look. They advanced a whole sliver of territory. Isn't that fantastic?
What does the pink mean?
So the pink is where they're taking over. That's where Ukraine's taking back over.
Oh, I see.
But and it only cost about $100 billion. And most of Europe will freeze this winter. What a bargain! What a bargain!
We had to do it to protect Europe.
We had to do it to protect Europe. So here's how ABC News is
Anybody
reporting
believes
this.
that, I don't know what to say.
Oh, I don't have my thing in.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I mean, anybody who really believes what they're saying, I mean, because like everything from the beginning, like, I mean, just the way they started out this war is how the war is going to end. And like, it's been a failure. Like they forget they was telling us like they were training people as they go, like to be able to use the equipment that they were sending because it was new stuff. Like they, you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't know even how to use it. But then like all of the losses that they claim to have had, if you think that in 1 week, like after taking so many losses, so many L's, that you came back and just fluttered the hearts and scared every freaking Russian that was out there, and you moved them all out of the country. Like, bro, like there ain't no superhero shit happening over there like that.
They would need Batman, Superman. They need the Marvel.
Yeah, no. That's
the Hulk.
That's who's gonna be fighting over there is the whole Marvel and DC cast. Like,
that's funny.
Man.
Let me play some more of this because he's gonna explain the.
That's what she said. Okay, here we go.
Be a major turning point in the Ukraine war.
A major turning point in the Ukraine war.
Ukrainian forces retook significant territory from retreating Russian forces in Ukraine's east this weekend, and Russia now retaliating with new attacks on critical infrastructure and power grids. Tom Sufi-Burge is on the scene in Ukraine. Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, good morning, George. That lightning advance by Ukrainian forces in the northeast has continued. Overnight troops also now pushing right up to the border with Russia. And this morning, a stunning admission from Moscow that it has lost almost the entire Kharkiv region in a matter of days.
This morning, Ukrainian forces marking massive victories in the northeast. Their troops now controlling the strategic military hub of Izium, which was occupied by Russian forces for months. Now, videos circulating online show abandoned Russian tanks and military equipment littering the area. Ukrainian soldiers raising their flag once again over the city. It's a massive blow for Putin. And across a large swathe of territory, troops liberating dozens of towns and villages in video released by the Ukrainian military.
I think it's interesting that he says huge swathes instead of swaths. I just wanted to point that out. Okay.
And they said, he said they just blew Putin. That's a weird way to put it.
That's a weird way to put it.
Civilians greeting and embracing Ukrainian troops.
Oh, look, they're
In
making
this
out.
map here, you can see the amount of ground Ukrainian forces have retaken in blue near the city of Kharkiv. Officials say they have reclaimed more than 1,000 square miles. President Zelensky praising his soldiers, saying everyone sees and notes your actions in the north, south, and east of Ukraine. The world is impressed. The enemy is panicking. Ukraine is proud. The Russian military retaliating, with Russian missiles striking power stations and other civilian infrastructure throughout Ukraine. Backing Ukraine's military and key to its success, a vast army of volunteers, here making them clothing and kit. Mechanics turning civilian cars into military vehicles, and these volunteers making plastic artillery pieces from a distance. They're realistic replicas, decoys to dupe the Russians.
Well, secret's out now.
Where did that
This
money
morning,
go?
the Ukrainians claim they are
Wait, why are
also
they MacGyvering weapons? We sent them all that money.
Right?
making progress in the south.
He said he sent them all that money and they over there using plastic decoys.
And on the offensive in the eastern Donbass. The Ukrainians are on a roll, and there is no doubt that U.S. weaponry and intel have made this possible.
So let me bring in Jackson. He said the eastern Donbass, they are even rolling into there. So tell me what's really happening here. So let me put this up.
So the situation on the ground is obviously not how those on MSNBC or CNN or Good Morning America are painting it. What really happened is there are 4 staging operations of offensives that Ukraine is currently launching. There's one in the Kherson region that failed miserably, and Ukraine, sadly, because I don't think we want to see anyone die, lost thousands of troops in that. There is also an operation underway in the Liman region, which is south of Kharkiv, and that is failing as well. And there is another operation that's about to be underway that would be targeting Mariupol eventually. The only one that has succeeded thus far is the Kharkiv offensive, which is what we're discussing right now. And basically, what we saw in Kharkiv was over the past several months, the Russians had little to no reinforcements and Russian military personnel in the region. They had tried for quite some time to move out of this region and closer to Slavyansk, which would have given them a more beneficial positioning in the region. But they kept getting bogged down. So the Russians had pulled just about all of their personnel out of the region. There was just National Guardsmen, policemen, and a frontline picket of, Lugansk Lugansk People's Republic fighters. But overall, the Russians had pulled out pretty much all their troops. And when we saw the Ukrainians opt to stop their Kherson offensive at the direction of the commanders Zaluzhny in Ukraine and send all of their personnel to Kharkiv, Russia decided to withdraw all their personnel from the Kharkiv region and Izium, which is directly to the south of Kharkiv. Now, in that video, they said that Izium is a strategic military hub of the Russians. That's not true at all. It was not a strategic military hub. This was a region that they were keeping the lights on, essentially, in, but it's not strategically very important for the Russians. So they decided to pull out, and the Russians were able to get all of their military equipment out, all of their artillery and tanks out, though there's fake videos online circulating that tried to dispel that fact that they were able to get all their stuff out. And that begs the question, if they were able to get all of their artillery, tanks, and personnel out of the region without any haste or quick withdrawal efforts that left some things behind, then we have to assume that this was somewhat of a pre-planned operation. Obviously, sending 20,000 troops there caused the Russians to act, quickly and decisively. But there was negotiations going on inside the Russian military that sources are now claiming were planning a withdrawal from this region, regardless of whether or not Ukraine launched an offensive there. So obviously, this is not good for Russia. They lost territory. They lost 2,000 square kilometers, but it makes up about 1/40th of all of the territory that Russia has gained throughout the war in Ukraine. Not to mention the Ukrainians lost thousands of troops. They lost multiple brigades, which isn't the biggest problem for them because they kind of have an endless supply of men that they can send to the front lines, but they're losing their top fighting forces. The real problem here for Ukraine is, though this is a victory, it is a victory. They gained territory. That's objectively a victory. It's a strategic blunder now because of the fact that Russia pulled out of the entire Kharkov region. Ukraine's men are spread extremely thin, meaning that these airstrikes that Russia is now launching in the region are doing quite a bit of damage. Russia hasn't sent in infantry in the region. And also, Russia has decided to respond now by what they discussed in there. We can discuss that more later. But the massive escalation of beginning to target civilian energy infrastructure, they knocked out about 50 to 60% of their civilian energy infrastructure.
So Russia, they didn't know this was coming, or they don't care that this was coming, or why was this allowed to happen?
So they knew it was coming, but they made a decision that it was not worth sending more personnel to the fight in potential.
Basically, y'all get it. Basically, it sounds like it was the plan, right? You know, and the Western media said it was this huge win, but basically, it sounds like it was just the plan. Simply put. But the point is, though, how if anybody watches the news, they're not going to hear this at all.
But see, but that's the thing. I mean, man, and that I ain't gonna lie, bro. That eats me up. That because it's like their programming happens on like a lot of people. Because I don't like if you watch CNN, MSNBC, stuff like that. Like you're gonna be pretty much locked in on one type of scenario, and it's gonna build on top of that. You watch Fox, it's a little bit different. A lot of times you'll see some similar stuff, but it's gonna have at least a different angle. So my thing is like being able to eat the meat. You know, most CNN watchers don't want to see Fox, and I'm like, no, you should be watching both to be able to get you can be able to kind of balance the truth between those two because you're going to get some truth out of both of them. But you're going to also get a bunch of lies out of both of them. So I mean, you gotta
try to find the stuff that kind of lines up. But usually the stuff that lines up is a clue. That's not necessarily the truth, but it's definitely a clue.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so a lot of it is reading between the lines, but then you have to be educated on the history and what's going on and shit.
Understand the actual capabilities right now. Like it's so many different factors that go into it, but it's just like, I don't know. Somebody pissed me off earlier about telling me, me trying to teach people about history, and they still believe in the out of Africa theory, and I'm like, bro, because I was talking about Mexico and different things like that. So it's just like they get caught up in what they see right now, but they can't really picture based on the information what was happening 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, what actually the people that might have been there. So it's just really being able to, I'm saying all that because you need to be able to reimagine, based on evidence that we have of the people in those areas during different times. Because they might be, I don't know.
My thing is, you got all of these news media outlets that's giving these false narratives and shit like that about what's actually going on over there. Where are the people that were talking of, where are these TV hosts, news hosts like Hannity and O'Reilly and all of them that was so big on them giving a false narrative and misleading, just a couple of years ago? Why, the motherfuckers that know the truth, but yeah. where are y'all at? You know, why
Yeah.
aren't y'all speaking the truth on this bullshit? But y'all are so quick to you know, oh, they're lying about this, they're lying about that, you know, on shit that, you know, to keep an argument going within the country instead of, you know, giving some straight facts.
Because they're silenced. Journalism is dead. Real journalism is dead. We got talking heads and corporation for the corporation. So
Well, you know, a couple of them got Me Too'd.
Yeah.
Which
So
was probably a plan to, you know, get rid of these guys that will give some honest views. I just thought of that you know, okay, which is probably a kind of late for me to really even just have that singled out thought, but regardless, Me Too was to get rid of people who wouldn't help the overall plan. But either way, what was the say the last thing you were saying, because that's what.
What was he saying? He was saying, you know, where are the voices? Where are the voices that are, you know, holding their feet to the fire, who are, you know, speaking truth to power, who are calling out the lies, you know, saying that, hey, this is a narrative, this ain't true. Where are those voices in the media, in the major media?
Yeah, like, you know, Hannity, O'Reilly, you know, Hannity and O'Reilly now, they were quick to call, oh, that's a lie, you know, and they fact check it and put facts up there,
Henry's
and it's
still
like,
around.
yeah, but they ain't speaking on this shit.
Well, they might have gotten silenced from the top, but you got to think too, like the kind of the same conversation we were having earlier about how they're trying to paint the success of our president. Like, that's why we're seeing such a different narrative now, because they don't want to make it look like the billions of dollars they've been sending to them is just going to waste.
Let me read these comments, because one of these comments said that. Let me read these comments. It says, it was worth remembering that the U.S. bombed all of Iraq's electrical power generation and transmission equipment, as well as other civilian infrastructure like water treatment and sewage treatment infrastructure in 1990. It's only recently that Iraq's electrical generation capacity surpasses its pre-1990 levels. Damn. Let me read more. It says, redacted mentions that Ukraine got back 1.6% of its territory, but at a huge cost of men and equipment in the Kherson and Kharkiv fronts. And now Russia paralyzed the generators and electric railways. So now the armor, artillery, and MRLS are stuck on the railways and rail stations like sitting ducks. Pyrrhus and Epirus said it best, another victory like that and we are done for. Another comment, it says, it's like Biden saying he has reduced gas prices. And another one, it says, keeping people on side is our Western media government's way. We can't keep sending supplies if no gains made.
Exactly. That part.
Yep. And another one, it says, this is the definition, an effort to get the American masses to support more military donations to Ukraine.
No, I want y'all fuckers to go down there and fix Mississippi. That's what I want y'all to do.
And again, I'm willing to bet that won't be what we got an election coming up, and they're going to be talking about this, that, and the other. You know, they're going to probably talk about Ukraine. How much they're going to talk about the damn water in Mississippi?
None. Just like they ain't saying shit about Flint.
Once the viral moment is over, once the news cycle has moved on, the news cycle has moved on. And it just holds the people's attention, and it keeps people focused on stuff that don't really, like, it's not going to impact their life directly. Like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be a bunch of bullshit. Stuff you can fight about, political fucking dogmas and shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, this is just like the conscious community, you know, when they would go out and, you know, be on the street corners fighting with each other. It's like women, like, okay, this stuff can go on for so long, but at some point, in order to be progressive, like something needs to happen other than your fucking mouth moving.
Some aggression. You got some aggression pent up in there.
Well, I say, bro. I mean, because like I see a lot of these
Hey,
different
man,
articles
can't be
that come
teasing.
on.
Can't be teasing Pat right now, man. He dealing with a lot, man. They
The
all
co-
hail to the queen, nigga.
Well,
I'm just fucking with you, Pat.
I mean, but no, I honestly like. I do have a lot of aggression. Like I am angry about a lot of things because it's like, there's so many things that's happening. Like, I mean, I always hear some kind of criticizing from the people that supposedly know better, but then I don't ever see them doing anything. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like your talk is becoming very cheap these days. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'd be like, all right, I'll buy that for $1, but I don't know, man. It's just way too much happening to where, like, either they get to the point to where it's just selfishness and they just enough for them and theirs. But I mean, I'm more like I really want. Like, I mean, there's so many things that's going on right here in this country that I think we could have a bigger, like, if I don't know, you know what, I got to get out of this truck, bro, because like it's gonna drive me nuts that I can't actually, really do things on my own. Like just, it just is what it is. I digress.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
I feel you, bro. So, this truck do take you away from a lot of the things that you need to be on the ground for. Yeah, so. But yeah, man. But it just, I mean, me and Chaka was having this discussion last night, bro. It just goes to show that they don't like these motherfuckers. They don't truly give a fuck, man. Like the corruption is this capitalistic society that we live in. It's all about lining their pockets, and for some reason, somehow, they feel like that no matter what happens around the world or in this country, if this shit was to end today, that they're gonna somehow be okay. And it's like, y'all may reign for a little while, but that shit gonna catch up to
But
you, and all you motherfuckers gonna cast away like everybody else, and it's
yeah, I
gonna be
mean,
worse.
but that's what's kind of what we were saying earlier. I mean, because the whole reason why America is failing, why it is losing its grips to the rest of the world, is because of their, because I mean, nothing's really wrong with capitalism other than the fact that, some people get too greedy and selfish. Like they're not, it's just their small circles, they'll be good. But if you really want growth, because just like China, how they're growing, they got industry. Like they're actually, like they're building our stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then how do you have a competitive edge if you got to go and train them, to train other people instead of your own people how to build these very same products that we need here. And like, okay, I get the overhead, like, yeah, it would cost more, but at the same time, if the rest of the world want to keep up, then they just gonna have to pay more.
I want to cover this right quick. This popped up on my head on my timeline, and this is what's going on in Haiti. Let me read the caption. It says, "Port-au-Prince is on fire. The situation in Port-au-Prince has reached critical levels. We are in day 3 of violent and deadly protests. Several homes and businesses have been attacked and set ablaze this week. Today, DR's Dominican Republic President Luisa Benada spoke to AOS, urging the international community to step in with support to gain control. He also proposed once again building a wall between Haiti and the Dominican Republic for added safety." So hold on, I got a little clips here. Let's see. Just showing like a building on fire. Let me see. Another angle, building on fire. And this picture is just like, looks like, because they got the streets blocked off and shit. So the thing is, the reason why, this catches my eyes because, we're talking about Ukraine and all the billions of dollars we send in Ukraine, and it's like cry for Ukraine and all of that. They don't have that kind of, whatever. We could say we don't care, but whatever, So the thing is, like, Haiti, they lost their damn president. The damn gangs is running the damn country. It's a fucking mess. So, but my point is, it's like, what is it that's different between Haiti and Ukraine as far as us wanting to give, humanitarian aid and so forth and so on, or try to help them in their situation some kind of way? It's not in the news. This ain't in the news.
You said what? Ukraine?
No, this is in Haiti, and I'm saying
Haiti.
that
Okay.
yeah, and this is not in the news, and it's serious ass crisis, and it's been going on since the president was assassinated. How long has that been? I mean, it's been going on longer than that, but I mean, it's been really, really horrible since the president was assassinated.
That was what, before Christmas?
It's been a minute. I would say like a year.
Yeah, I think it's been about a year because it was definitely during the pandemic.
Anyways, Haiti is a mess and nobody cares, and it's like
Day in the wild.
My bad,
man. I'm willing to, like, I mean, I don't know if we will be able to figure this out, but I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, based on even what I've heard other people say, like, because Trump would have handled the Ukraine thing totally different. Like, whether it's supposedly him being in collusion with Russia, but like I said, he was tough on Russia than Obama. But either way, oh damn.
I don't believe it would have been that much different, man. It's the good cop, bad cop shit, and they're just like, that's to keep us on this political treadmill.
Well, I mean, both. I mean, because no, I mean, I don't necessarily see it quite like that because I mean, based on the people's agenda, is how you can say. Because I mean, if you agree and you want to be a part of the global, the global aspect of governing. Okay, I mean, you're probably going to lean more toward what the Democrats are doing because that's what they're really pushing for. But on the Republican side, it's more on a nationalist side, like what everybody else is trying to do and separating themselves from America because of the shit that they're, the direction they're trying to go in now. Like everybody's trying to stick with the nationalist thing, and see the reason why Trump got along with everybody else the way he did was because he agreed with the other top people because they know like somebody's gonna try to have to be at the top of all of this, and they know if they're following somebody, they're not at the top. So that's why it's like they're not trying to. This is like what, look, my country depends on this, and this is what we're gonna do. We're not doing all that, like 20 million brand new freaking, or however many new electric cars gonna be running around and needing electric charge. Did you see the thing where the construction equipment, like it would need to charge 8 hours in order for it to run for 2 hours? It's like
they stupid as fuck, bro. The Democrats, all this shit about the ozone, all that.
you're gonna still be having to use oil to make these cars. It's like you're gonna use like they was doing the math about it. Like they really to end up making that one battery, like one car. I forget how they was using it, but you was gonna have to use like 300 barrels to create one of these one product or something that they were trying to do. It just didn't make sense, because you're still the same thing that you're saying that you want to halt the sale of, pretty much just halt the sale to the regular citizen, because corporations, manufacturers, that like they're still gonna be able to get this stuff, and they'll be able to get more of it, I guess. But it's just really it don't make sense at all. Like when you really do the math, like yes, like because that's the thing. Like some people, some politics is very emotional, and other politics is freaking logical. And I follow logic.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
why I see. That's why I'm seeing most of the difference, because yeah, it'd be great to be able to do this right now or last year, 5 years ago. It'd be great if we could be there. Maybe we could see some differences, but and another like people don't trust them. Like once you get everything running on electrical, the cars and everything, like they can shut you down when they get ready. Like, look, I'm not willing to give up all of my rights to you.
Let me play this.
Your heart and understand why the EPA knows that toxic petrochemical facilities are some of the most toxic, polluting facilities in the world and are killing Black people throughout Louisiana.
I've never seen anything like that. And for the gentleman of Louisiana and the comfort that he felt in yelling at you like that, there's more than one way to get a point across. And frankly, men who treat women like that in public, I fear how they treat them in private. We can be better than this. We don't have to resort to yelling. In the 4 years that I've sat on this committee, I have never seen members of Congress, Republican or Democrat, disrespect a witness in the way that I have seen them disrespect you today.
If I had that power in the world, actually, I don't need that power, because what I would do is ask you, sir, from Louisiana.
I'm giving you the
to
power. You're
to
presenting.
search
It's impossible
you,
what
sir,
you're
from
positing.
Louisiana, to search your heart and understand why the EPA knows that toxic petrochemical facilities are
My
some of the
good
most
lady.
toxic,
I'm
polluting
trying to
facilities
give you
in
the
the
floor,
world
boo.
and are
What do y'all think?
What did he say that was disrespectful?
Well, obviously there's more to the clip. I don't know.
Well, I'm listening. I mean, I guess what she's saying, that him talking at the same time she was talking.
I don't know. I'm assuming there's more to the clip.
I guess, I don't know. So it sounded like he was saying he's giving her the power to decide, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I guess like you can't really make a decision based on that, because I ain't hear nothing.
Let me read the caption. It says, a House oversight hearing on climate erupted into disrespect on Thursday when Representative Clay Higgins proceeded to yell at and demean an expert who criticized the fossil fuel industry's impact on the environment, along with its role on Black and Brown communities. Rhea Salter, an energy justice lawyer who serves on the New York State Climate Action Council, was invited to testify before House lawmakers during a hearing about the oil and gas industry's lack of accountability and major role in the climate crisis. The incident was addressed soon after by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who also serves on the committee. And it just says her quote there that we already heard her say. I don't know. Could just be political, or it could be a thing.
Well, I think that some people like she sounds very emotional because if he was disrespectful, because a lot of times, sometimes it takes just okay, all right. You got something to say? All right, let me give you your 5 minutes, whatever it is. But when you're done, I want to speak my piece. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like they all trying to talk at one time, somebody needs to at some point kind of just like chill out, let the one go, and then come in and say what really needs to be said. Because the based on that, because I know that like the poorest communities are gonna get it worse because they can't fight, or a lot of them working so hard they don't even know when they're having these meetings on where these different plants are going to come up, and then they
Exactly.
end up coming up.
And that's what we need to be talking about. And that's what bothers me about this kind of stuff. It's this kind of like fake outrage, woke outrage type shit where it's totally beside the point. Okay, maybe it's true that the guy was being disrespectful to her or whatever, but can we get on the conversation that she was, even the lady who was speaking, what she was trying to bring us to talk about, instead of talking about that particular point of it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we talk about how the environment is affecting the brown and black people in the community? Let's have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, like, why? I mean, I don't. When they're doing it, why they don't go to an area where there is nothing, or no people in that area? Like it's just y'all. It's gonna take you 50 minutes to drive there, from where you live, because you don't live in that same. Like that's kind of what it needs to be if it's really that bad. You know what I'm saying? But I know it's stuff that happens over time, because if you really I grew up in Baton Rouge, but like right down the street, not too far, let's just say a 10-minute drive from where I live is another town called St. Gabriel. St. Gabriel has plants there. Right on the other side of St. Gabriel is Geismar, and then Gonzales. Like all of those areas are packed with different chemical plants. So, but there's all through down the river road on the backside of those plants is historically where a bunch of black people live, and
they didn't have to build that stuff in through there, like you said. And then if you look at the maps, you'll see that it's so much open space for people, because people be like, oh, we got to put it somewhere. You don't have to put it there.
Yes, exactly. They claim, and then they claim they want to build it in that community so that they can help those people, like, the jobs that you're gonna get. But
Bullshit.
yeah, I mean, it's more so like you pretty much come to take over an area. Like that's
because that's the same thing they say when they're colonizing a place and they're stealing their resources, and they'll be like, hey, but we're gonna bring jobs to y'all, so be happy about it. And then almost all the jobs go to foreigners. This is another thing I was thinking about. I was thinking about how they were talking about the border, the southern border, and related to that as far as the jobs. And I see through my job that it's the Europeans. The jobs that, the people coming through the southern border are taking are not any jobs that anybody over here is really wanting anyways, for the most part. The people that's coming over here taking jobs are Europeans and Asians. All the good jobs.
Yeah. The ones that y'all really need to be fussed over.
So, but they're totally okay with them coming over in droves too.
It's kind of weird how they get upset with some and don't get upset with the others. Oh man.
Yeah, that shit crazy. But man, I can't remember exactly where. It's in Louisiana. there's a plant down there that we service. Man, I can't remember, and it's gonna bother me because I
Dow?
can't remember the name. But
Dow? Is it Dow?
no. The plants that are down there are atmospheric gas plants. So air products and yeah, there is a Dow chemical down there. Yeah, you're right. There's a big Dow chemical down there. It's if you
I
go
used to work there, yeah.
I-10 where you going down
And you
towards New
exit
Orleans.
Howard. You talking about on the west side of the river?
Well,
They got
yeah.
LA one. You got the
Yeah.
LA one that runs through there.
I just know that when you
Going
go,
towards you talking about going towards Plaquemine?
man, I probably so. Yeah, it's down that way because over there where that plant is at, it's all slave land. It's all slave plantations, like and all you see is black folks there that live there, but it's all slave plantation, like the old master houses, historical houses are there. Like they got a whole it's like a museum where you could go there and visit this. It's oh my god, I can't remember the name. I think it starts with a C. I can't remember the name of it, man. But that shit is wild, dude. Like, and it's like, yeah.
Sure, I can't think of it.
It's like going towards Louisiana. I mean, not Louisiana, New Orleans.
So yeah, but the reason why you brought it up, right, was because it's mostly black folks in there, and they decided to put this chemical ass plant down here, right?
Yeah, and that Dow chemical takes up pretty much all of that shit down there, bro. Yeah.
It's probably the only job to work in the whole area that's worth a shit. Yeah. And it's probably not filled with local people working there either.
Probably not. Because what I was about to say, a lot of times the only the decent jobs that they have that's paying more than minimum wage is the plant and maybe the police officer. So, and especially in those little small towns. So,
look at this graphic right here, right quick. It's it says stolen from, and this is the Queen. It says it's got South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Australia, India, Egypt, Barbados, and Fiji. The stuff that she's holding in the picture, like parts of the crown, the staff, something that's on the end of the staff, the necklace that she has on. I don't know what this is really, like a globe or something. A bracelet. Another part of the crown from Egypt. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like, F you, man. I still got your stuff. And look, I not only that, I freaking take pictures with it. Be like, look, I got your stuff right here. It's really cool and pretty.
I turned it down.
And all of those, and then those same countries where she stole the stuff from is mourning her death right now.
All celebrating.
It's like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
I got a video on this. I really don't want to put y'all to sleep, but I wanted to cover Gaddafi, and I wanted to cover the Jamaica, Antigua, Barbuda cut ties with the British monarchy. Which one you want to go into? So I might not make it to both of them.
Shit.
Want to talk about Gaddafi, or you want to talk about Jamaica, Antigua, and Barbuda?
We can talk about Jamaica and Antigua. Both of them are important.
Yeah, that's why I can't decide, so I got it. Hold on. Dang. Wow. Okay, so this is Democracy Now! The caption says, "We look at how the death of Queen Elizabeth II is prompting former British colonies in the Caribbean to replace the British monarch as their head of state. Antigua and Barbuda's prime minister has vowed to hold a referendum soon on whether to become a republic, and Jamaica's ruling Labour Party also plans a vote. The Caribbean at one point formed the heart of England's first colonial empire in North America, with millions of enslaved Africans taken to the islands where many were worked to death. Debreen Omerd, chair of the Antigua and Barbuda Reparations Commission, says he is not personally mourning Queen Elizabeth's death because her reign helped to cloak the historical brutality of empire in this veneer of grandeur and pomp and pageantry. We also speak with renowned Jamaican poet, a musician, Matuburuka, who says the British monarchy represents criminal activity and the British states need to make reparations to former colonies like Jamaica to redress the history of abuses. Actions speak louder than words, he says. What do y'all think? Let me read some comments. It says, these are comments underneath that video. It says, I'm a 41-year-old man that was born and raised in Dominica until age 17. My father worked on a plantation in the village where I was born, as did his father before him. Colonialism isn't a thing of the past. The reverberations are still felt today. The royal family continues to benefit from all the pillaged in the West Indies and beyond. These atrocities need to be made right, and any semblance of their presence needs to be banished from the West Indies. What do y'all think?
You need to, because I'm hearing you, but it didn't really soak in like they're in India or the West Indies.
Yeah, he said the West Indies. So basically meaning like, well, it's anywhere that the colonizations.
Well, yeah, colonization is happening everywhere. I mean, you really mostly it's happening in Africa, where same shit, just different new colonizers. With China going in there, I mean, it's not any different from. Just not.
Let me read some more comments. It says, having the great Matabaruku as a guest is one of the reasons why Democracy Now! Is one of the premier independent news sources in the entire world. Another comment, I hope this referendum happens for the people of these countries. They deserve their long overdue independence. Another one, it says, time for a united federation of Caribbean states. That's a good idea. Instead of remaining small entities, blowing in the wind of the world powers, we need to join together and control our collective destinies in this part of the world. A well re-established connection with the countries in the motherland. That would be really cool if, and then they could put Haiti in there with them. That would help Haiti have like a United States kind of deal in the Caribbean with Jamaica, Barbados, whoever. Freaking Puerto Rico probably maybe want to join because they kind of so close to the United States. Puerto Rico wants to be a part of the United States, so maybe not. And the DRs, the Dominican Republic, maybe they wouldn't want to do it either. But I could totally see it. Maybe Cuba would go along with it. So like in a lot of those smaller items, well, some of them are really aligned too, like Trinidad and Barbados. They're kind of aligned with South America, like Suriname, and so maybe they won't feel it. But I'm sure a good number of those islands will be down with that, and that would be a good ass idea because then they could put together all of their resources and shit and be like a nation. They'll have more power. They already got a lot of resources, so then they'll get more power over their resources that way. Damn, think about the damn vacation packages that you could have. If all of those islands was like a part of a nation, then they could do vacation packages that send you through all the islands that are part of the nation. coordinate that shit.
I think about that. I'm thinking about like
You breaking up. I can't hear you. I'm going to read some more comments. It says, the people of the Caribbean were also critical in building back London after the devastation of World War II. This is not acknowledged in modern history. All the Caribbean should cut ties with the Commonwealth. Another one. Growing up in the 90s, listening to Matabaruk, he been chanting down Babylon since day one. Thanks for your service, brother. Greetings from Gambian. Another one, it says, a thief never returns, compensates the victims what they stole, and they never admit to being a thief. It's pretty harsh. They got international people up under their video making comments, people from around the world. Let me play some of this. I know I'm losing y'all, but...
Begin today's show looking at the legacy of British colonialism in the Caribbean, where there are growing calls for reparations.
Did y'all see the clip where he was like, oh, damn, I did something. I lost the green screen. Did y'all see the clip where he was, the pen messed up and he just like lost his shit and didn't even want to sign no more? Somebody else had to come in there and sign and shit. What's his name? Charles. He's the king now. And he was like, his pen's fucked up and he lost his shit. Let me play that, because if y'all haven't seen that, it's pretty funny to me. It went viral. He wrote the wrong date. It just shows how pampered these people are, man. Let me go to that. Because they showed the clip.
Screen fucked up, Chuck.
Yeah, I know. Let me play this right quick. Am I sharing? The pen leaked on his hand and he just had a fucking fit. So then the lady sits down and gets, it's like the only work he has to do and shit. He's signing some shit. He's like, man, let somebody else do that shit. What the hell I gotta do to sign it for any damn way? Fucking pen leaking on my hand and shit. Fuck, I wrote the wrong date. I can't fucking remember what day it is. I don't give a damn what day it is. Fuck y'all. And let somebody else sign this shit. Fuck this shit. I'm finna go do something else. I just find that clip so funny to me. Fuck, bro. If only work you had to do was sign some papers, how would you feel about that, Deuce?
Shit, I would love it. Shit, and have the billions of dollars they got.
Yeah. That's probably all he had to do that day and shit. He probably had to show up and show his face somewhere, but that was the official work of the day.
That's a major task, signing paperwork, man. That's what happens when you're royalty.
Yeah. He like, can y'all get a stamp? Just use a stamp. Fuck that shit. Just stamp it. Nobody cares anyways. Why I gotta physically sign it anyways? Shit.
Yep.
That is hilarious to me. Anyways, I wanted to go back to the Jamaica Barbados stuff. And I want to fix my green screen. So, what do you think about them cutting ties with the Queen, or even just still being a part of that whole thing? These islands in the Caribbean.
I think they should break ties with that shit, man. I mean, where does it benefit them? You know, they're under that rule. It's still hurting them. It's not benefiting them. You know, it's just yeah, their shit would probably be so much better if they wasn't under that rule.
Yeah. Well, try to have more control of their own freaking future and have control of their own freaking resources and shit.
Yep. Yeah.
Be able to actually set their real laws and shit. Have real political leaders and shit.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. Let me play some more of this.
Caribbean at one point formed the heart of England's first colonial empire in North America. Many of the more than 2.5 million enslaved Africans taken to the British Caribbean were worked to death. The string of island nations includes Jamaica, Barbados, the Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, and Trinidad and Tobago, among many others now in the British Commonwealth. Following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the Prime Minister of the Twin Island nation, Antigua and Barbuda, said voters may soon decide whether to leave the Commonwealth and become a republic. Prime Minister Gaston Browne spoke to ITV News after he confirmed Charles III as king and head of state.
An active hostility or any difference between Antigua and Barbuda and the monarchy, but it is the final step, as I said before, to complete that circle of independence to ensure that we are truly a sovereign nation.
What sort of time frame would you think on a referendum then?
Within the next probably 3 years.
This comes after Barbados voted last year to break from its colonial past and become a republic. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, the ruling Labour Party says it also plans to hold a referendum on becoming a republic. For more, we're joined in Kingston, Jamaica, by the renowned Jamaican dub poet, Muta Baruka, who's also a musician, radio show host as well. And in St. John's, Antigua, Dorbreen Omar is with us, the chairperson of the Antigua and Barbuda Reparations Commission, also an ambassador at large of Antigua. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Dorbreen Omar, let's begin with you. With the death of the Queen, first your response, and then what you're calling for your country.
Well, it's good to be here. Let me say thanks for having me. In terms of my response, I will be very measured here. I will recognize that we are talking about death. We are talking about the loss of human life, that the Queen would have had family, etc. But I'm under no obligation, I think, to be mourning her death. And that is simply because of, I think, my understanding of history, my understanding of the relationship of the British monarchy to African people and Asian people, but to African people certainly on the continent and here in the Caribbean. And so that my response is perhaps to recognize the role that the Queen Elizabeth II has played, how she has managed to cloak the historical brutality of empire in this this veneer of grandeur and pomp and pageantry, I guess, graciousness. But I think that at this point in time, we need to examine that history a lot more closely.
And speaking of that history, could you, for those people who are not aware, especially of the roles of King Charles I and King Charles II in the Caribbean, and especially toward your country, could you talk about that?
Well, if we look at the role of monarchy, so we are going back now, mid-17th century, 1600s. King Charles I was perhaps the monarch, I think, that opened the trade between Britain and Africa. That was originally gold minerals, etc., that opened that trade up to human trafficking, to the enslavement, to the movement of enslaved Africans. King Charles II, who followed him, actually was responsible, along with his then cousin, who later became James I, totally responsible for and ownership of the Royal African Company that moved more Africans off of the continent into the Americas than any other company in history. So what we're talking about here is the involvement of British monarchy in the ownership and the operation of the transatlantic, I prefer to call it, of the European slave trade, the movement of Africans here into the Caribbean. And so we now see this movement, and even before Charles I, we can be addressing Elizabeth I, and we see this recurrence, of course, in the names that we're talking about. And so we now supposedly should be mourning the death of Elizabeth II and welcoming a Charles III. But we know them. We know these Charleses and we know these Elizabeths. So there's virtually no mourning for me at this moment.
I'd also like to bring in Mutsa Baruka, the renowned Jamaican poet, musician. Your response to the death of Queen Elizabeth and also of the British Empire's relationship to Jamaica.
Good morning. I am totally in agreement with the first speaker. And I don't even want to go back into slavery because a lot of people claim that Queen Elizabeth was not responsible for what her ancestors did. She herself said that slavery was legal at the time, so she don't really recognize what we in the Caribbean is talking about. Now, we have to realize in 1952, that was when she ascended the throne of England. And if you check the history between 1952 and now, you will see that even though slavery was abolished, but they, what we call it, redefined slavery and call it colonialism. And colonialism in this part of the world was represented by the throne of England. So we're not really talking now about an individual person. We're talking about a corporation, an institution, which is called the Monarchy of England, that has totally devastated a lot of the progress we could have made if it wasn't for this what we call colonialism interpreted to us as slavery still. Now, we have to remember, in her time, there was the Mama uprising, which is a very interesting case because she was actually named Queen of England when she was in Kenya. And the cruel and wicked things that the British Army did to the African people there cannot be seen as just, okay, that is just something. And she had never granted any sympathy or said anything that would say, well, you know, she have a kind of art to what was taking place. We look in South Africa during the apartheid system. The British is part of that wicked apartheid regime that devastated and killed thousands of Africans who was fighting for right to be a person in South Africa. And it was recently, even during the time of Mandela and Winnie Mandela, that we was told that they were still on the list of terrorist groups. And even though England and this queen was ruling at that time, there was no effort to find out what is it they can do to alleviate the problems that confront African people in this part of the world. Now we come to the Caribbean in this time. The Caribbean has been devastated. We know in history, one of the richest plantation owners, king owners, was a man by the name of William Beckford. William Beckford got his riches and became one of the richest men in England in that time. And up to this day, when we recognize how much people died because of the institutionalized slavery that they call colonialism, up to this day, the movement of our people, especially in Jamaica now, where our constitution was given to us by England through the hands of the so-called Bustamante and Norman Manley, who was recognized during that time in 1962 when Jamaica was supposed to be getting independent. They went to England and they got a constitution that is now part and parcel of what Jamaicans are supposed to live by. And when we look at that constitution, it does not include ownership of land in Jamaica by the people. If you go into the courts of Jamaica, it says the Crown versus Tom Stroke, or the Crown versus John Tom. That is what we have to face right now. Now, when you recognize that Jamaica is supposed to be an independent country, most Jamaicans say Jamaica not independent. That even though people say it's like it's not rich, it's not really governing the country. But the head of state is the Governor General representing the Queen of England in an independent country. How the hell that is possible? That you have an independent country that is the first lady is the Governor General's wife, not the Prime Minister's wife. And they set and designed the Constitution that way. And these so-called, we call them bossy slaves, jacket and tie slaves, that they continue to uphold and maintain that regime that has committed so much atrocities and crimes in this century, in this time. They have been committing it and still committing it. And we don't see why we should now sit down and say 12 day mourning. That to show how backward and how so-called the Stockholm Syndrome has grabbed our leaders in the Caribbean. That here's a family that represent criminal activities of your ancestors. And now you start to love them. How is that possible? How is that possible that we who know the history is keep repeating the history? We know what is taking place in this democratic, so-called democratic country that is still honoring the most gruesome and cruel monarchy that ever exists. And we know of it. How can we now sit and say, we have 12 days of mourning? 12 days of mourning for what?
For what?
Mourning that far. Why we're not mourning for the thousands and millions of people that died across the Atlantic Ocean? We're not mourning for all the warriors of our time. There's no day for Taki, there's no day for Nani. All of these people who died because they stand up and struggle to get out of the class of British colonialism. We know sit and say we must mourn. I am not one of them who's mourning, and I can talk for a lot of Rastafari, Virgin and Sitchin.
Pretty much said it all. I know I'm losing y'all. I'm tired too. I think I work a double tomorrow. So I think I'm gonna wrap it. Let me read some more comments though. Let me see. Under the comments underneath the video, it says, if only Africa can be united and stand in solidarity against imperial mentality and slavery, Africans all over the world will gain the lost respect back. Africa, time to be united. Another comment, long live Antigua, Barbuda, and Jamaica. May we all move to become a republic and the rest of the Commonwealth Caribbean islands for that matter. It's time to dismantle the remnants of colonialism, and the Crown will never want to give up whatever stronghold they have left on the Commonwealth countries they brutalized. Another comment. Jamaica needs to sever ties now. Worked to death is an understatement. Beaten for simply taking extra food. We need our reparations to come home so we can use the money to rebuild our country and its youth. Matabaraku. Let me try to say that right. Matabaruka. I love and appreciate you from Jamaica. Another comment. These two gentlemen were warriors with intelligence and are decrying the sentiment of the people of their respective countries to advance freedom and reparations without the continued narrative of the royal regime that has subdued them for too long. Go Matabaruka. I was feeling that dude too. Let me read some more. It says, it's so long overdue. May these people be victorious in their pursuit of sovereignty and freedom. Another comment, writing from Jamaica, it's not a question of if, but when. Trust me, the next government that can deliver us out of bondage will get my vote. Thank you, Muda, for speaking on the Mau Mau tribal genocide and the South African struggle. You could tell the people who actually watched the video, because a couple of these comments I read, I think they just read the headline and just wanted to make a comment. Let me read some more. It says, when I learned that Jamaica was still being ruled by the UK and not fully independent, I was terribly surprised. And that most of the Caribbean island countries were still under the British rule. I couldn't understand. That's how I feel. It's like, isn't it modern day? Like, I thought that shit was over. Let me read some more. I support the reparations for Jamaicans, but any reparation money should be put in a transparent trust fund and not in the hands of the corrupt politician. The fund should be periodically monitored to account for accountability. The present leadership in Jamaica cannot be trusted, especially if they're the right hand of the queens or the king now. Let me read some more. It says, grip, Britain, grip. Can't you see that your domination is a history? You can't have enough muta on democracy now. His perspective, especially on the U.S., was so welcomed by me as a teenager. He gave me a perspective from someone outside the country. The Mystery Unfolds is a masterpiece. His band was also incredible. He motivated me to become vegetarian. Amazing guest. Yeah, I'm getting tired. You there, Deuce?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Man, so how's your week
I'm
been?
here too, but I'm in and out.
Man, it has come to an end. I'm waiting. Just pulled over, waiting on my co-driver to get his time back so we can drive back into Houston. I'm over here. I got 3 minutes left on my 70-hour work week. So it has come to an end.
That's what's up, man. You
How
know,
about you guys, man?
because some guy, and both of y'all could probably relate to this, but some guy I was at work and he was like, "Oh, it's hump day. We've made it over the hump or whatever. Like we should be happy or whatever. Something along those lines." And I was thinking, I was like, well, not really for me. Like the way I work, it doesn't really work like that, you know.
Yep.
And I'm sure both of y'all can agree with that. So like, what day of the week they're like, it's Wednesday, so it's hump day, you know. And then it's like, it's funny how a lot of people have this perspective that everybody else lives on that same time frame of this. I don't know. I guess it's the American dream type of thing. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, weekends off. I don't know, 6 weeks of vacation, you know, all weekends and holidays off.
That's people that don't give a fuck. They think only within their bubble.
They're so oblivious. And like that's what I was thinking when I was walking away. I was like, this guy has no idea about what my life is like at all. Like completely oblivious to how my life is. Couldn't imagine someone living the way I do. Would be horrified.
Man, you live pretty good.
Yeah, so but I don't know. I guess it's just the the brainwashing or the the programming of how I guess you're supposed to be. Everybody's supposed to have a 401k. Everybody's supposed to have a Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's like, and if you're not doing that, then what are you doing?
Yep. That's how some people think.
And then we was just last night talking about the railway workers, the railroad workers, and really what they're complaining about is having a quality of life. Like Wednesday don't mean nothing to them either. They're like,
nope.
It's like it's Wednesday, it's hump day. They're like, whoop de fucking do. So it's hump day for you.
Yeah. That shit don't matter in the world of other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of my life I've lived where I pretty much work weekends and holidays.
Yeah. Shit.
Days,
my first
nights.
job in high school, everything.
Yep. I worked overnight. I used to work graveyard.
Yeah. Overnight shift.
Yeah, that's not for the lighthearted right there. But I ain't gonna lie, it probably shaped because I did that in high school, so it probably kind of shaped the rest of my life because you get like a lifestyle related to it, and being able to stay up all night, but also like I don't know, I can't really think of it right now. Like my brain is going crazy, but see, I do this show right now. Today it's 2 a.m. right now in Houston, and shit, that's what I'm always up at night. And I'm real active at night.
Yep.
I'm more active at night than I am in the daytime, I would say. I like to get business taken care of during the day, but all the stuff that I want to do, like for myself, usually happens at night.
I feel you.
And how much does that go back to like our history related to like, think about slavery, right? And we could talk about jobs and being slaves too, related to that. As far as what you want to do for yourself, you don't have any time for, so you got to cut into your sleep time to do that stuff that you want to do. Like the slaves were like that, right? So it's like they all the time that the sun is up, they in the fields. The only time they had to take care of their family and all this kind of stuff, cook and clean or whatever it is, the stuff that they have to do, wash clothes, that's only done at night.
Yep. Man, bro. I say this with the utmost respect, bro. I commend the men and women that went through that shit, bro. Because I think about us now. Well, I ain't gonna say us. Let me say I'm referring to myself. You think about those days you wake up and you don't feel good. You running a fever or you sick. Your body got chills and aches, and you say, "Fuck it, I ain't doing shit." You just lay in the bed, drink hot tea and shit all day. And I think about, you think about the days you just wake up and say, "Fuck it, I ain't going to work. I ain't doing shit." Like those people, our people that had to endure that shit, bro. They didn't have those options. They probably had to work with 105 fever, you know, body chill, sweating, no medications, no nothing. Like that's it's just
Pregnant,
when you yeah,
having
pregnant.
having baby in the field, shit, all kind of shit. And like, oh, we was talking about doing their work at night. I was thinking about gardening and shit because a lot of them had their own little gardens and stuff like that. They needed that stuff. It helped them get by. Potatoes, watermelon, whatever. So they probably had to do their work on that shit at night or early in the morning before the sun come up.
It's a lot, bro. When you think about them, and then you you think about your life today, you realize how much of a bitch you really are. Like,
Yeah.
because there's not many of us that can endure that type of shit.
Nah, wouldn't make it. Would just give up. Say fuck it.
Yep.
And that's what we was talking about earlier about our ancestors leading to us and how they had to be successful. And like, you know, our presence is an example of their success and all the trials and tribulations that they went through. Generation after generation.
Yeah.
For us to be here. So they did all that for us.
Yeah. Yep. It's nuts, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to wrap it. I'm gonna try to come on. I'm gonna come on tomorrow because I really wanted to cover the stuff about damn it, I can't even think now. Libya, freaking Gaddafi, and we're talking about the how come the Africans like when like United States basically came for Gaddafi, right? How come the other African countries wasn't like, hold up, man, how y'all gonna do that shit? You know, it seems like even as corrupt as things are, it seems like it should have been a little bit more difficult for them to just go over there and get him. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, you know, and because it's important because it's related to now because what like Pat was saying earlier about the petrodollar and how basically, you know, Russia, China, India, I don't think you can say India, are they are on, it's like polar world now. So they're going to be trading in the currency that's not the dollar, you know? And so, and then Africa, Gaddafi, what a lot of people feel like what really killed him was when he was trying to get Africa on like a consolidated Africa on a one currency that was gold backed. And you know, the powers that be want Africa to be a mess, and the countries just kind of like independent and fighting against each other rather than having, you know, them working together. Because imagine like a United States of Africa. You know, imagine how powerful that would be.
Man, I just can't believe. Well, I mean, I guess I can believe it, but at the end of the day, you know, he had as a president, he didn't have really no power, but that shit happened under him, man.
Who are you talking about?
The assassination of Gaddafi
Yeah.
happened under Obama. Like he
Oh.
oversaw this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, but he working for the powers that be. He's just another one of the puppets, you know. That was the agenda of the powers that be, you know. A weak Africa. The corporations are really what's running the show, and they, you know, they wanted to make money, and that's really what it's about. And they can't have them strong, so then they'll be like, hey, y'all stop coming over here and taking our resources and not paying us for the shit. Like, nah, we can't have that. Keep on picking these politicians and putting them in place and lining their pockets so that they can keep them and their friends and family, their buddies good. The rest of the people, the resources are going to these corporations, and they just paying the politicians to be quiet. And then they scapegoat them after that. Oh, this guy was corrupt. He was taking money. Yeah, that guy, he's corrupt. No. That's the reason why all y'all shit is fucked up. That's the reason why y'all ain't got shit. That's the reason why y'all resources ain't getting used right, is because of these corrupt ass politicians. He's stashing the money.
Yeah.
And it's the same story every time.
Yep. Every damn time. Yes, sir.
Laughing all the way to the bank. Anyways, man, I'm gonna wrap it. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. I hope you learned something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it was good to hear from all of y'all.
Same here, bro.
All right, man. Peace and love, y'all.
Peace and love, man.
Peace
Have a
and
good
love.
night. Yes. Oh yeah.
All right, man.